So good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're doing school. I'm kind of sad today because the governor just announced that we won't be going back to school anytime soon. So that's just happened today when I'm recording this particular video. As you can see, my surroundings have changed from the other videos. I am now at home, just like you guys are. I hope y'all are staying safe. I hope you guys are doing what you're supposed to, staying at home, washing your hands, and you're continuing on with your lessons. As always, if you need something, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, whether that's through Canvas message, having somebody send me a remind message through my email, any of those ways, I will happily get right back to you. I'm also hoping to host a conference probably on Thursday where I will have designated times for each classes where y'all can kind of drop in, talk to me about any questions you might have about Rome, and we'll also do like a mini study session for your Rome test, which I'm hopeful will be for Friday. That will be all classes. Maybe third period you'll be a little weird, but my goal is still Friday. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So today we're going to be finishing up that presentation on Rome. So today we are going to be looking at slides 35 through 38. So that's what I want to be talking about today. So we're going to be looking at the legacy of Rome. We've looked at the rise of Rome, Rome and the Pax Romana, Rome and the spread of Christianity, what caused Rome's decline. So now we're talking about what Rome left behind. So Roman culture is going to be based on these ideas of strength, loyalty, and practicality. They'll have picked up Greek ideas about the artistic ideal and also Greek styles of writing. So they were very obsessed with making sure that people looked perfect. That was kind of how they would portray people in art. And so the result of this culture from taking things from the Greeks would blend Roman practicality with Greek idealism. So the Greeks were very much, everything's perfect. The Romans are very much like, that's not the way things are. So we're going to see a blend between the two of them. And that's really kind of what forms our Roman style. So Roman artists were especially skillful at creating what is known as a mosaic. And I might actually assign you guys kind of a mini fun project, something that's kind of cool to do at home where you'll create a mosaic. We'll get into that a little bit later. Don't stress too much over that. But a mosaic is just a picture. It's made from tiny pieces. For them, it was colored stone or other material. And one famous example of these mosaics show Alexander the Great in battle. And this mosaic was found at Pompeii, and it measured 10 feet by 19 feet. Many Roman mosaics, though, will simply show scenes from their daily life. Romans also will learn about sculpture from the Greeks, but they won't follow the Greek tradition of showing the ideal. Instead, the Romans will create sculptures that were more realistic representations of things, or what is known as bas relief. So in a bas relief, they'll have like slightly raised figures that are against a flat background. So you'll have this flat background and then these figures kind of coming forward showing the scene that the sculpture is made of. The Greeks will also influence Roman literature. Roman writers will adopt the idea of the epic. If you remember from way back in Mesopotamia when we did the Epic of Gilgamesh, we talked about an epic being a long poem. In Greek times, we had the epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey. They were written by Homer. And now in Rome's time, we're going to have other Roman writers adopt this idea of an epic. And so there's this epic known as the Aeneid, and it was written by a man named Virgil, and it is a very well-known Roman epic. So Virgil will model his poem based off of the two major Greek epics, the Odyssey and the Iliad, that again were written by Homer. But the Aeneid will tell the adventures of the hero Aeneas. He was a man who survived the Trojan War. He sailed to Italy, and he was said to have founded Rome. If you remember, he's the guy who, way back when we first started talking about Rome, his descendants will be Romulus and Remus, who Rome will eventually be named after. So the works of Cicero, who was a statesman, they will kind of provide a picture of Roman life that adds to our knowledge of Roman history today. So Cicero has a lot of written works that include his speeches, and he will be a master of public speaking, because public speaking was definitely an important way for Roman politicians to persuade the people to get on board with what they were doing. It's very similar to our politics today, where a lot of government leaders have to be very good speakers. They have to be able to present themselves. Otherwise, people don't trust in them. And we want to trust in our government leaders. Rome was the same way. Romans also will write quite a bit about philosophy. For example, there will be an emperor named Marcus Aurelius. We talked about him like for 2 seconds and all of this craziness. But he will write a work about the ideas of Stoicism. And what Stoicism teaches is that the world was created by a divine plan, that there was some sort of designer that made the world what it is today. And by having a sense of duty and by also being virtuous, like kind of doing what's right, that doing those things would help people to live by this idea that there was a divine plan in the world. So we also will see Latin develop out of Rome and kind of be a lasting impact of this empire. It was spoken across the Western Empire. If you remember back, Rome broke into two parts, the Western and the Eastern Roman empires, and so Latin will be spoken in the Western Roman Empire. Over time, Latin will start to evolve into a group of languages that we know today as the Romance languages. Romance comes from the word Rome. That's why they're called the Romance languages. But Romance languages are spoken today in countries that had once been ruled by Rome. And so those languages include things like Spanish, French, Portuguese, Italian, and Romanian. I'll give you some examples of the word in Latin, pater, means father. And we see very similar words like that in like Spanish, it's padre. Nox means night in Latin. If you are saying Spanish though, it'd be noche. It's a very similar sort of way to take these word parts and make them fit into other parts as well, into these other languages. And that's how we see that develop. Greek architecture will also influence Roman builders very heavily. Roman architecture and Greek architecture is pretty similar. They both use a lot of columns. They both use proportions. They try to make them big and grand and make them look pretty. It's sort of how our government buildings look today, because again, a lot of American politics is very heavily based on what Rome already did prior to that, because it did work for them for a long period of time. But Roman builders will be very excellent engineers. They'll find new ways in order to improve the structure of the buildings in the Roman society. And these ideas included things like building an arch or a vault. A vault is just an arch that forms a ceiling or a roof. They also would build domes on their buildings as well. So these Roman developments in construction made it possible to build larger and taller buildings. So a lot of modern day buildings, as I've already said, they do steal from these Roman ideas. Like the U.S. Capitol building has those domes and it has vaults all in it. But the Romans also will develop a new form of concrete as well that is both light and strong. So they'll pour this mixture into a hollow wall or another curved form in order to create these strong vaults that would create like a concrete arch for them to start building on. And it is very similar to the concrete that we still use in building today. The Romans will also build aqueducts. Aqueducts is just a system of a way to transport water from one place to another. And these aqueducts would bring water to public fountains where people would go to collect water to take back to their homes. Aqueducts will also supply the water to those public toilets and public bathhouses that we talked about when we were still in class together. And there were 11 major aqueducts that would bring water to the city of Rome. The longest of these aqueducts will actually stretch for 57 miles. And some of these aqueducts can still be seen in France and Spain because these lands were once ruled by the Roman Empire. Roman roads were especially famous for their quality at the time. In 312 BC, Romans will build the first of many roads, and it was known as the Appian Way, and it will run southeast from Rome. So over time, we'll start to see a system of roads extend across a lot of the empire, and Rome will be at the center of this network. A lot of Roman roads will be built so that soldiers can move quickly to places in the empire wherever they were needed, especially as that Roman Empire started to break down. They would need to move soldiers very quickly. And the road system also would increase trade for those merchants and also other traders coming from other places as well, not necessarily just trying to buy things, but to take things back home in return, because they could move their goods more easily. The terrain wasn't as hard on them to get from one place to another, so they were able to travel much more easily. And even though the road system will help to hold the Roman Empire together, it also will make it easier for enemies to invade, because it's easier for you to travel, it's easier for everybody else to get to you. But past civilizations will leave their mark through ideas as well as through objects. So the eastern and western parts of the Roman Empire will have major influences in the regions of both religion and law as well. So the Roman Empire will play a huge role in the spread of Christianity. Christian missionaries will convert a lot of people within the Roman Empire, and the Roman Catholic Church will become a very powerful organization in the western part of the empire, and even throughout Europe. Like, most of Western Europe will convert to this idea of the Roman Catholic Church. The Eastern Orthodox Church, which was the official religion of the Byzantine Empire, so the Eastern Roman Empire, also helped to spread Christianity. So even though they are identifying as two different churches, both are spreading Christianity. They're both sharing the same ideas, just how they do it's a little bit different. And a lot of people, like in Russia, and also other people that lived along the border of what was the Byzantine Empire, became Eastern Orthodox Christians. So with both the Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox practicing Christianity, a lot of Europe, as well as some parts of Western Asia, will convert to this religion. The structure of the Roman Republic also will influence the writers of our own U.S. Constitution. So Roman senators will make up the main political body of the Republic, and early U.S. citizens will follow this example by providing for their own Senate in Article 1 of the Constitution. And laws in today's democracies started from the laws that were in Rome and the Byzantine Empire. They've just kind of evolved over time and been rewritten a little bit to make more sense to us today and be more applicable to us today. But most of them are all still very similar to the same sort of laws that Rome had. Some of these laws might do things like include the right to own property, or make contracts, or write a will. These are things that Rome started that we now see still play a part in our lives today. In the Roman Republic, citizens also had the right to equal treatment under the law. It didn't matter who you were, as long as you were a Roman citizen, you were treated kind of the same as another Roman citizen. So this principle of equality will inspire our government and also the government of France as well. So, I know that's a lot of information. It's just kind of talking about the way that we still see Rome in our societies today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the Roman Catholic Church. It's not very long. I'll upload that presentation for you tomorrow, and I'll have a video that kind of goes how I want you to set up your notes for that one, because it will look a little different. Hopefully it won't be very long for you. It's not a lot of writing, and I'll have a video that goes with that one too. But again, a couple of reminders: reach out to me, stay safe. I hope I see you before the end of the year. I know this is kind of a weird time for all of us, So stay flexible, keep communicating. If you need something, reach out, let me know. I'll figure out something, some way I can help you. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. We'll have a video conference on Thursday. That is my goal. It's not required, and I'll post those times for each classes. I'm just thinking maybe like a 30-minute time period, and I'll probably have like some sort of audio clip, Canvas message, something that goes out so you guys know how to log on, where to go, how to mute yourself, all of that sort of stuff. If you can't come during your time period, it's not a big deal. We are going to be reviewing for your test though, and you guys know what my test reviews are like and how similar they are to my tests. So make sure you keep an eye out for that information. Yeah. Bye.